Okay, and here we are back at the lake again. So, of course, right after, I think of like a couple hours after the last video I uploaded onto the channel, the news broke that UCLA and USC are headed to the Big Ten in 2024. And, July 4th weekend happened, and I didn't really get around to covering that. Most people have already said what everything that needs to be said about it, so I won't go too in depth. Obviously, this is horrible for the Pac-12. Just like Texas and Oklahoma was horrible for the Big 12. I know the Pac-12 technically still has them, but could you imagine? I saw a tweet that they're trying to negotiate their media rights deals like today. Could you imagine saying, "Yeah, we're going to lose the LA market in like 2 years, but but please give us a whole bunch of money"? Could you? I don't think that was going to work out for you very well, and it wouldn't shock me if the Pac-12 and the Big 12 weren't really around in the next 5 or 10 years. I think these conferences like the Big Ten, the SEC, and the ACC are just going to keep poaching their best teams now. I think that's a trend that can't really be stopped once it gets going. I know there's talk about the Big Ten not doing Big Ten East and West for that much longer, but as long as it's here, hopefully USC can be thrown in the Big Ten West and maybe get some competitive team that could stand a chance against whoever comes out of the Big Ten East. USC obviously, with Lincoln Riley coming over, I think he took a lot of transfers from Oklahoma with him. So maybe that can kind of stir up some intrigue for a division that's been kind of stagnant with Wisconsin or Iowa or whoever's come out of there usually getting beaten pretty handily by whoever comes out of the Big Ten East. The final game in the Cucho Hernandez-less crew era has come to a close. It was a 0-0 draw at home against the Philadelphia Union. Philadelphia is a very good MLS team. However, it's disappointing to not score any goals at home again. I mean, they did get one in the net that was called back for VAR offside. This offense is on life support. If Cucho Hernandez is the defibrillator that gets it going, then good. But if it's more of a structural thing and he comes in and is good but doesn't, if the offense still struggles and they miss the playoffs again for 2 straight years after winning the MLS Cup, then yeah, I think Caleb Porter is going to be out. I think he's going to be gone. And I don't think it would be unwarranted either. To not make the playoffs 2 years in a row after winning the championship is pretty unacceptable to me. And that means that changes have to be made, and if it's the head coach, then it's the head coach. Sorry, see you later. The Blue Jackets traded a 4th-round pick to the Nashville Predators for Matthew Olivier. I kind of talked about last video how the Jackets needed somebody who could throw their body around, who could get physical, who could, hold his own in a fight. And that's definitely what they got here in Matthew Olivier. He's been bouncing around between the NHL and the AHL. He's like 6'4", 200, mid 200-some pounder. He's a big guy. He can definitely, he can run roughshod in the NHL if he wants. But the weird thing is you probably didn't have to give up a 4th-round pick for this. You probably just could have got this at the free agent market. I think he's making league min, so he's not taking up much cap room, but neither of any other guys you can pick up in the free agent market that are just there for their grit. Now, as a Jackets fan, we just have to hope that whoever the Predators take with this 4th-round pick ends up being nothing. Otherwise, if he turns out to be a really good player, or even just like a pretty good serviceable player, the narrative will be, could you imagine if the Blue Jackets traded that 4th-round pick to the Predators, and the Predators got this great guy, and the Blue Jackets got, Matthew Olivier? Not something you want to live with, but I don't think it's it's not a DEFCON moment. It's nothing to worry about quite yet, but just something to, look out for down the road. The USFL Championship happened. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch a single second of actual USFL programming. I think the most that I watched with a friend, like one episode of their like HBO Hard Knocks, but it's about all the teams. I watched one episode of that, and that was whatever. Somebody got cut because they said they're like being disrespectful at a lunch line, when it was really just like somebody wanted something else besides pizza, and the guy said no, we only have pizza, and he kind of like complained a little bit about it, but that was viewed as being disrespectful and getting cut from the team. That was pretty fun. That was a pretty funny moment. It's in the first episode if you want to watch it. I forget what it's even called, but yeah, I think I would rather watch a 7-on-7 USC, like if the USC is coming to the Big Ten and they want to promote how good their team is, I would rather watch like them divvy their team up into 4 7-on-7 teams and watch a tournament of that USFL football. Like, I know they're doing some cool things with like drone cameras and camera angles, and like they're doing something. There's some NFL guys you recognize, but I can't take another one of these like crappy spring leagues, and especially because it's all happening in Birmingham, but the playoffs are all happening in like Canton or whatever. If this has any chances of succeeding, get rid of the bubble that they're in. Actually have them play in the cities or the states that they say they're in. I still think it's doomed. I still don't think this lasts any longer than 5-10 years max, unless Fox just want to keep they have the money. If they want to just keep pumping money into it and losing it, then I guess they can. There's going to be a second season, I think. I'm not going to watch any of that either. I just don't really care for spring football. Once the Super Bowl is over, I'm all footballed out at pretty much that point. The Guardians are playing pretty bad baseball. That they got a taste of first place in the AL Central, and then it's just been kind of pretty bad since then. It continues their up and down roller coaster year, and you kind of have to hope that they go on another uphill swing. So yeah, not a whole lot happened while I was gone, besides the whole landscape of college sports and college football changing with the Pac-12 teams going to the Big Ten and everything being all topsy-turvy there. But besides that, a whole lot of nothing. Maybe I'll do something for the NHL draft. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you've liked what some of these teams are doing. If you don't like what they're doing, maybe if you disagree with the take about Matthew Olivier not being worth a 4th-round pick, if you think that he's exactly what the Blue Jackets need in terms of physicality, you can just let me know in the comments, and we'll see what happens with him. Thanks for watching the video.